Takže nyní tedy poprosím pana Garyho Korena, který je velvyslancem státu Izrael v České republice. Vy máte v těch svých materiálech uvedeny podrobnější charakteristiky, proto z jeho bohaté kariéry vybírám jenom několik bodů. Kromě toho, že nyní působí jako splnomocněný velvyslanec, tak ještě předtím působil jako velvyslanec státu Izrael v Lotyšsku a Litvě. Dále potom jako poradce první či druhý tajemník působil při stálé misi státu Izrael ve Spojených národech v Ženevě, dále na velvyslanectví v Moskvě a v Lilongwe, ale nyní radši předávám slovo panu velvyslanci. Prosím.
Dobrý den, děkuji moc. At some point of time I also was needing sluchatky to understand your accent in Czech. I would like to thank very much the Czech Senate and especially the committee that deals with Czech citizens living abroad, Czechs living abroad, not all of them citizens, of course, of the Czech Republic. I'm glad to see the Czech Foreign Ministry nominated a special envoy for this task, Ambassador Kanturek. So I was glad to see the head of the committee and members of the committee of the Senate visiting Israel earlier this year to study Israeli experience in this field. And I can tell you, we, like in any other fields of cooperation between our countries, if there will be a continued interest, Israel is, of course, very much ready to share our long experience dealing with different populations, and I'll elaborate of immigrants. My short presentation, I'll try to stick to 10 minutes, will be, let's say, less academic. I actually learned a lot from what I just heard from our Irish colleague, and surely Ireland with its huge diaspora has a lot to offer as well. One distinction between our countries when it comes to Israel and Czech Republic is very much a nation state. For centuries, yeah, let's even beyond the 20th century independence period. But Israel has a character beyond being a nation state of a Jewish people, also a country of constant migration. So we are probably much similar in this sense to countries like US, Australia, and Canada, countries that used to integrate new arrivals. Okay, so we have decades-long policies and establishment, government institutions, and NGOs who know how to deal. To mention one peculiar case, and again, there was a magic word used, networking. Jews have a networking of centuries, probably. And in a sense, speaking in modern terms, even before the State of Israel was born with its institutions, we have a body called the Jewish Agency. Okay, it's not Central Intelligence Agency, it's just Jewish Agency, that's the name. It's the biggest NGO in which Israel and diaspora Jewry is represented. And it's actually a very unique institution. A few words about a few statistics just to give you, let's say, maybe perspective and something that maybe bring us and Czechs together. Numbers are relatively easier to deal. So first of all, the Israeli population is not so big. We are 8.5. 17% out of them are non-Jewish, Muslim. We are a multicultural country, if you like. Another 3% are Christians and others. So you have the numbers of Jews, which include non-Jewish members of the family, 6.7. Now, Jewish diaspora, I like your questions. I mean, you have the figure, but sometimes when I ask people if they have an assessment how many Jews live in the world, I get crazy numbers, all the way from 10 million to 100 million. It's good, it's okay, we can aspire. But frankly, even this number is very much depends on definitions. And when it comes to definition of what's the meaning of being Jewish, you need another lecture here, not this time. So let's say this is approximation. More than 50% live in Northern America. And in Europe, when we speak about Europe, where we have the biggest Jewish communities are in France, UK, and Russia, and then Ukraine. Okay, a very small community in Czech Republic. When it comes to Israelis in the world, very much connected to what we heard before about globalization. Okay, I'll mention the numbers. Even this number is probably modest, maybe there are more. Do you know who is the mayor of the great city with a huge Czech origin population, Chicago? Who is the mayor? Ram Emanuel. Ram Emanuel is the son of Israelis who moved to the United States to study there, to work in American universities. A lot of Israelis go and make their PhDs or in US and stay there. So Ram Emanuel, if you ask Israelis, is an Israeli. So if we take into account such people, probably the number is around 700,000 Israelis who live abroad, and again, mostly US and Canada. Those are three major sources of arrival to Israel. The Jewish people who would like to immigrate to Israel, we call it Aliyah. I will not dwell on that too much, maybe a few words. Israelis who live abroad, what you call in general terms expats, and then we have other migrants. This is illegals and refugees, migrant workers, mostly Africans. We have something like 50,000. Just to give you another numbers, when it comes to Jewish Aliyah, last year, 2015, we had approximately 30,000 arrivals, 8,000 from France because of the violence and terror and anti-Semitism, 7,000 from Ukraine, almost the same number from Russian Federation, and around 4,000 from Northern America. It's a 10% increase over previous year, 2014. And the trend is continuous also 2016. However, when it comes to Israelis, we have an average of 15,000, but not that this, it's outflow. So every year, approximately 15,000 Israelis move abroad, relocation, jobs, studying. And we are successful in attracting back around 9,000. So we have, let's say, 6,000 negative on number of Israelis moving. However, together with the Jewish Aliyah, we have a positive saldo of 24,000 in 2015. So in net, we are receiving many more new people every year than people leaving. And regarding the expats, I think there are some similarities connected to globalization. The same you can say for Irish, for British, for anyone, for Czechs who leave Czech Republic recently in order to work in Germany or in Canada, I don't know where. The level of connectivity back to their homeland may be a little bit different for one peculiar reason. Most of the Israeli men serve in the army, including in reserve units. So even if they live abroad, they come every year to spend up to 1 month in their reserve unit, serving in the army. And even if they staying more than, let's say, few single years in outside, they send their children to serve in the army as well. Okay, so it makes the bond much stronger. I don't wish you the circumstances that we have, but that's one of the explanations. A few really fast few words about the Aliyah. You can read it in Czech. It's about Aliyah is for Jews and descendants of Jews who are interested to immigrate to Israel. And it's regulated by a special law that we have from 1950. It gives the Jews almost automatic right to live in Israel and to gain Israeli citizenship. However, they have to arrive to Israel. They cannot get Israeli citizenship from abroad. We later extended this law also to people with one Jewish grandparent. if you like, it's a mere picture of Nuremberg trial, Nuremberg laws of Nazis. So those who Nazis consider to be Jewish, even having one single grandfather, they're entitled to arrive to Israel safely and to get Israeli citizenship, even if they're not considered Jewish under Halacha, the Jewish law. Regarding, Rol Vladi. Okay, that's regarding the Israelis who would like to move back home. So it's if you like some kind of bureaucratic description, probably we shouldn't too much dwell on that, which describes who is entitled for the status of returning resident. And this status actually allows to different institutions some, let's say, significant perks and discounts, whether cheaper tickets, whether to take more baggage back home, to arrange your social security, your health program. And however, we don't like this kind of come and go situation. So you can get it once and maybe you can get it twice as well. But I mean, if you come to Israel and you enjoy the status of returning resident, don't expect it to have it all the time. You know, if you receive, you go back and then you come again. So there are some terms under which you can get it maybe second time if you have to spend another 6 years abroad. Maybe something similar to activities of other countries like Ireland. We run an operation for many years called the Israeli House. For instance, in Europe, we have it in London and Berlin, in Paris, and in US, we have it in near all major Israeli consulate. So Chicago covers northeast, I guess. And this explains the activities. It's first of all for being together, feeling together, and meeting place. But secondly, of course, very much is to give a counsel to people who, after staying a few years abroad, would like to move back home. A special program is designed for the scientists, okay, people with high academic degrees. Israel has the highest number of people, of students and teachers staying in American universities by 100,000 per 100,000 than any other country. As a foreign scholars. So it's quite a challenge, and we do offer, let's say, special programs for those, targeted for those that will be easier for them integrated, whether in a business in Israel or in academy. I'm finishing. It's just, you know, to mention the network of different government institutions which are involved. Even, I don't know, custom authorities, okay, but very much we have a special ministry. We have special ministry that deals with those flows of arrivals, whether it's Aliyah or returning Israelis. We call it absorption, so because, you know, so it's integration, absorption. This is more or less it's a cover or a backside of a booklet that every Israeli who would like to consider to go back receives, with very detailed information explaining him what has to provide, what kind of documents, who will deal with him, and who will be helpful to his desires. To je všechno. Děkuji vám za pozornost.